Alright, this is a Marshall DSL50, and to say I love this amp is a total understatement. I'd probably go so far as to say that if you only own one Marshall, make it a DSL. And I want to show you guys why, because I've done so much recording and gigging with this amp that it basically is just the sound of rock music, to me anyway. It's pretty hard to get a bad sound out of this amp, wherever you set it. So let's go through some of the settings and the way I like to run it in my rig, and how you can get the most out of your DSL if you're using one as well. So to start off, I've got an Deviser Guitars LJ1, has some Martin A. Smith sort of like hot PAF style pickups in it and a P90 in the neck. What I've got going with the EQ, this is how I used to run it for gigs. The treble, middle and bass all at 7. I am on the, I'm on the lead 2, so the red channel on lead 2. And the master volume, I've got it at about 4. The gain, I have got at around 2 or 3. And I've got my Anarchy Audio custom dual boost pedal going, so that basically I can set this up for a great rock rhythm tone, turn my volume control down for a clean sound, and then chuck the boost on for a lead sound. This is what the straight up rhythm guitar sounds like. I'm running this into the Fractal Audio X Load, and it's going into a York Audio V30 IR. I'm tuned down to drop C. Sounds like this. As you can hear there, it's just a really solid rock tone. It sits in a mix with a loud drummer and a bass player really well, and I found that it sits really well in a mix on a recording as well. So that's kind of my go-to reference rock sound basically. If you want more of a sort of traditional Marshall kind of thing, I would use the lead 1 red mode. With the gain at the same level, this is what it sounds like. And then you can also back off the bass, say to around 3 or 4, and engage the deep switch, which sounds like this. And then going back to the lead 2 channel. Which sounds pretty thick and pretty wonderful to me. So that's kind of the guide of, that's where I like to set it for a kind of just straight up rock sound. That's how I used to use it when I was gigging with it a lot. Obviously, I'm not engaging the presence control there, so I like to get the presence up to around 4, and you can pull out some of the mid-range, as well as leaving the treble where it is, maybe put a little bit more bass in and a little bit more gain. You can even back off the master just a little bit to tighten it up, and you get a pretty convincing kind of, modern, scooped, metal-ish tone. that by turning the deep switch off and turning the bass control up, they kind of balance with one another, although with the deep switch in, it's this really thick, saturated kind of distortion. And with the deep switch out, it is far more of a kind of classic Marshall crunch, and it's still cleaned up with the volume control, which I like. And I ended up turning the presence up to about 6 there. So that's for more, you know, if you're going for more of the sort of metal, more aggressive kind of thing. But I think this amp really shines with those kind of modded JCM 800 style settings with basically everything at 7, except for the presence, which is, you know, off or nearly off, and the deep switch out. So that's the dirty channel. I think this amp also has an amazing clean sound as well. It's probably the clean sound that I've recorded more than any other. So the way I like to run it is if you go over to the green channel, and we'll leave the volume at about 4 and get the gain up to around, say 7 or something like that. This is on lead 1, which they call clean rather than crunch. So on the neck pickup P90, it sounds like this. And that's cool, and if you kind of push it a little bit more, you do get that sort of edge of breakup territory where if you hit it really hard, it starts to get crunchy. And of course you can push that over the edge with a pedal. That's also a really cool way to run this amp if you want more of the sort of traditional plexi JTM45 thing happening. And then of course, if we take the gain back to about 5 and we go to the crunch mode on this channel, this I call the AC/DC channel because you instantly get that sort of classic 70s Marshall sound out of this. I think that's a really aggressive sound as well. The main difference that I find between like the green channel and the red channel on this amp, I've talked about this before, is the red channel is basically, I would describe it as like squishy and saturated, whereas this channel seems to sag a little bit less. It's got more of that like, you know, 2203 or JMP era Marshall kind of punch to it, which I really like. So I think that's a really great overview of why this amp's great if you like to play rock music. It can obviously do the heavier stuff really well, can do some of the cleaner stuff, but I think it just really shines in that, you know, pushed, modified JCM 800 style territory. I've got another video comparing this to a 2203 and it can totally nail the 2203 thing as well, but I think it's just obviously got more gain on tap and the EQ is a little bit more versatile and you obviously don't have to run it as loud as a 2203 to get that thing going. I mean, you can run the amp really, really loud, and it is a really loud amp, but I liked running it like this. I still do, and you know, this is a Marshall that I think everybody should own. If you like rock music, you need these set of tones when you're recording or gigging. Not to say that, you know, there's only one way to play rock music. It's just that variety is a spice of life, and having this in your spice rack is a very, you know, it's like the salt or the pepper in your kind of, you know, rock recording rig. So that's why I like the Marshall DSL so much. I think I like the DSL50 even better, just because you can kind of wind it up a little bit more and you can get a little bit more of that power amp glow happening without too much difference in volume levels and without it getting too saggy or anything like that. It's still a really tight sounding amp, which I like. So yeah, there you go. If you enjoyed this video, please check out the rest of the videos on my channel, hit subscribe and check out my music. Everything's linked in the video description. And if you're a DSL user, tell me why you love it. Or if you'd like to get one and you want some advice, again, just leave a comment and we can chat about it. See you guys around.